Hello, I'm Jeremy Axeman, the man in the irony mask. Today I'll be talking to opposition leader Jeremy Hasbyn. And why are you wearing that ridiculous hat?
This is to show solidarity with the Morning Star newspaper.
You were asked what number out of 10 do you believe we should stay in the EU, and you answered about 7. However, before the referendum vote, you didn't turn up to a single meeting of Labour's Stronger In team.
70% of Labour supporters intended to vote Remain. I didn't want to alienate the 30% in case they deserted us in a general election. John McDonnell did the maths. He went to grammar school, you know. And we know the figures are correct because Diane Abbott checked them.
After saying you were not a big fan of the EU, that 70% shrank to 60% a fortnight before the referendum. Alan Johnson, the leader of Stronger In, who had been a previous Home Secretary under Blair and Brown, said your efforts were a ludicrous farce.
Alan was a pain. He wanted to hold meetings at 9 a.m. in the morning. Starting at that ungodly hour is a ludicrous farce.
All of the unions were for Remain. Unite even gave them £1 million. In the 1975 referendum, you voted with the 33% of people to leave the EU. I put it to you that you would have felt more comfortable campaigning for leave.
I thought it my duty to point out what's wrong with Europe. Remain and reform was my stance. I had a long list of things I didn't like about Europe and wasn't afraid to tell anyone who would listen.
Boris on the line.
You were Vote Leave's secret weapon. You avoided all interviews. Instead, you wanted to go to Turkey to welcome refugees across the border. During the week before the referendum, you were obsessed with the plight of West Papua New Guinea. Thanks, Jezza. There's a case of bubbly in the post.
When the Leave campaign went ahead in the polls, you went on a 6-day holiday.
We had other things to consider other than Brexit, like getting myself in number 10 at the next general election.
Regarding yourself, John McDonnell and Seamus Milne, a few years ago you were known as the Three Moscow-tears. Before the referendum, you all missed every opportunity to give a press conference or write a newspaper article, and you put your crack troops in Momentum on ice. You were the only politician to call for Article 50 to be triggered immediately. Even the most ardent Brexiteers knew that was bonkers. Your best people resigned in disgust at your performance, including 23 of your shadow cabinet.
Yes, but now we're playing our second 23, a much better team.
I see, so our World Cup strategy should be to play the B team. Matt Finnish from Finsbury Labour Group on the line.
I asked you 3 times to come to a forum, but you refused.
I am not going on stage with Tony Blair, Gordon Brown, or David Cameron.
You'll go on with Hezbollah, the IRA, and the Foo Fighters. And where was Momentum? Motionless.
75% of 18 to 24-year-olds voted Remain. They cheered you at Glastonbury, but if they ever realised what you did, they might boo you off next time.
I'm confident Momentum will keep them on message.
After the referendum, you received a vote of no confidence from your MPs by 197 to 40. Then, in the following general election, Momentum sent 400,000 ads on WhatsApp on election day. Plus, they used Facebook, Snapchat and Twitter. If you'd done that for the referendum, just a 1% swing would have given Remain victory.
One ad is called Daddy, Why Do You Hate Me? And has had 7.5 million views. I'm very proud of that.
You make a video every 2 weeks telling your supporters what's important. No mention was made about your stance on the EU. Your supporters were confused. Many thought you were for leaving. A caller, confused of Conway, would like to ask you a question.
Hello, Jeremy boy. I couldn't work out if you wanted us to vote Remain or Leave. So I voted Leave and my wife voted to Remain. Which one of us was right, boyo?
Obviously, you were both right. I hope you find that answer reassuring, and you will both vote for me at the next general election.
Boris, if you're still there, how would you sum up the EU?
I think they're just a bunch of left-wing loonies and socialist banker bashers. Can't wait to leave.
Jeremy?
It's a capitalist club of right-wing businesses exploiting the working class. To be honest, I'm not sorry to be leaving.
And on that note, good night from us.
Good night.
Well,